Deep within the ruins of an ancient fortress, a group of adventurers crept cautiously through the winding corridors, their weapons at the ready. They had heard rumors of a powerful undead creature that was said to be lurking within these walls, and they had come to vanquish it and claim the treasures that lay within. As they rounded a corner, they were met with a sight that filled them with dread. A massive chamber loomed before them, filled with a glowing green light of many eyes. In the center of a room, a towering death tyrant floated, its massive skeletal form wreathed in a halo of dark energy. The undead skeletal remains of a beholder now haunting these walls forevermore. Now that we know a little bit more what a death tyrant is, let's talk some features. The death tyrant has a +9 to intelligence, +7 to wisdom, +9 to charisma, +5 to strength, and +9 to constitution saving throws, and a +12 to perception checks. It is immune to the charm, exhaustion, paralyzed, petrified, poisoned, and prone condition, and it has a dark vision of 120 feet and a passive perception of 22. Just like the beholder, this creature has a very keen eyesight. You can always try stealthing away, but unless you use passive traits like a dirty cheater, you're not going to get past them. The Death Tyrant can understand and speak Deep Speech and Undercommon. The Death Tyrant's gimmick is Negative Energy Cone. The Death Tyrant's central eye emits an invisible magical 150-foot cone of negative energy. This zone prevents any form of healing. In addition, humans that die while within the zone are then turned into zombies underneath the Death Tyrant's control. So he prevents any sort of healing, and then if you die, you turn into a zombie underneath his control. If you do come ill-prepared here, you are going to die. A bite attack that deals 14 or 4d6 piercing damage. And like the beholder, the Death Tyrant shoots 3 of the following magical eye rays at random, choosing 1 to 3 targets it can see within 120 feet of it. For simplification, just note that the saving throw DC for all the rays is 17, and most can repeat the save at the end of the turn, ending the effect on success unless specified. Just so I don't have to repeat this over and over and over again. The first ray we're going to talk about is Charm Ray. The targeted creature must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or be charmed by the Death Tyrant for 1 hour, or until the Death Tyrant harms the creature. Now with this ability, there are 2 types of people. Those who find giant apples not sexy will suffer from this ability. Those that have a thing for Mike Wazowski will be fine. We then have Paralyzing Ray. The targeted creature must make a Constitution saving throw or be paralyzed for 1 minute. If you fail, you will freeze in place. Succeed and then you can say,
Never freeze.
We then have Fear Ray. The targeted creature must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or be frightened for 1 minute. After that, we have Slowing Ray. The targeted creature must succeed on a dexterity saving throw. On a failed save, the target speed is half for 1 minute. In addition, the creature can't take reactions. It can either take an action or a bonus action on its turn, not both. The creature can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on itself on a success. After that, we have Enervation Ray. The targeted creature must make a Constitution saving throw taking 36 or 8d8 necrotic damage on a failed save, or half as much on a successful save. We then have the Telekinetic Ray. If the target is a creature, it must succeed on a Strength saving throw, or the Tyrant moves it up to 30 feet in any direction. It is restrained by the Tyrant's telekinetic grip until the start of the Tyrant's next turn, or until the Tyrant is incapacitated. Basically, it's just Witting Guardian.
Leviosa.
If the target is an object weighing 300 pounds or less that isn't being worn or carried, it is moved up to 30 feet in any direction. The Tyrant can also exert fine control on objects with this ray, such as manipulating a simple tool or opening a door or a container. After that, we have Sleep Ray. The targeted creature must succeed in a wisdom saving throw or fall asleep and remain unconscious for 1 minute. The target awakens if it takes damage or a creature wakes it up with an action. This ray has no effect on constructs or undead. After that, we have Petrification Ray. The targeted creature must make a dexterity saving throw. On a failed save, the creature begins to turn to stone and is restrained. It must repeat the saving throw at the end of its next turn. On a success, the effect ends. On a failure, the creature is petrified until freed by greater restoration spell or other magic. And I stated this before, but I'll say this a million times. Petrification is a game changer in D&D. This can eliminate an entire party, so it's very dangerous and you definitely want to be prepared for it. We then have Disintegration Ray. If the target is a creature, it must succeed on a dexterity saving throw or take 45 or 10d8 force damage. If this damage reduces the creature to 0 hit points, its body becomes a pile of fine gray dust. If the target is a large or smaller non-magical object or creation of magical force, it is disintegrated without a saving throw. If the target is a huge or larger object or creation of magical force, this ray disintegrates a 10-foot cube of it. And the last of its rays, Death Ray. The targeted creature must succeed on a dexterity saving throw or take 55 or 10d10 necrotic damage. The target dies if the ray reduces it to 0 hit points. So yikes, try to save, please. The Death Tyrant also has legendary actions which he uses to use his Eye ability, following the same rules as stated before. Now, let's talk about the Death Tyrant's layer actions. We then have Wall Sprout Spectral Appendages until initiative count 20 on the round after next, including one on the ethereal plane that is hostile to the Tyrant and starts his turn within 10 feet of a wall, must succeed on a DC 17 dexterity saving throw or be grappled. Escaping requires a successful DC 17 strength athletics or dexterity acrobatics check. We then have a spectral eye opens in the air at a point within 50 feet of the Death Tyrant. One random eye ray of the Tyrant shoots from that eye, which is considered to be an ethereal source, at a target of the Tyrant's choice. The eye then closes and disappears. The Death Tyrant can't repeat an effect until all three have been used, and it can't use the same effect on a consecutive round. We then have the regional effects. The Death Tyrant has two effects. Number one is creatures within 1 mile of the Death Tyrant's lair sometimes feel as if they're being watched even when they aren't. And number two is, when a creature hostile to the Death Tyrant is aware of its existence, finishes a long rest within 1 mile of the Death Tyrant's lair, roll a d20. On a roll of 10 or lower, the creature is subjected to one random eye ray of the Tyrant. If the Death Tyrant dies, these effects fade away over the course of 1d10 days. Now that we talked all about its features, let's talk about some settings. Here are 3 settings that could work for your world. The Death Tyrant was once a powerful beholder who ruled over a kingdom of goblinoids. When a group of heroes rose up and overthrew its tyrannical rule, the beholder's dying thoughts transformed it into a Death Tyrant, turning revenge on those who had wronged it. Now that the Tyrant has gathered an army of undead goblinoids and is wreaking havoc on the countryside, the party of adventurers is hired by the local lords to stop the Death Tyrant and its army before they can conquer the entire kingdom. For a second setting, the Death Tyrant was once a wealthy merchant who made a deal with a powerful demon to extend its life. The demon tricked the merchant and transformed it into a Death Tyrant, bound to serve the demon for all eternity. The party of adventurers is hired by a group of demon hunters to track down and destroy the Death Tyrant, but they soon discover that the demon has other plans. The Death Tyrant is being used to carry on the demon's bidding, and the party must not only defeat the Death Tyrant, but also stop the demon's larger plan. The last setting we have, the Death Tyrant was once a wise beholder who sought to unlock the secrets of the universe. Its quest led it to experiment with dark magic and eventually transform into a Death Tyrant. However, the Death Tyrant's undead state has given it insights and powers beyond its wildest dreams. It has become obsessed with uncovering the ultimate truth of existence, even if it means destroying entire cities to do so. The party of adventurers is tasked with stopping the Death Tyrant before it can unleash its full power, but they soon discover that the Death Tyrant's secrets are more dangerous than they ever imagined. Now that we covered the settings, let's talk about some strategy. A general combat strategy. As a powerful undead creature, the Death Tyrant's main objective in combat is to eliminate any threats to its existence while raising an army of undead minions. It will start using its negative energy cone to prevent enemies from regaining health, and then follow up with its eye rays to debilitate its opponents. It will likely use its Charm Ray to take control of any particularly strong or useful enemies. Its Paralyzing Ray to prevent opponents from attacking. Its Enervation Ray can also deal significant damage, while its Sleep Ray and Petrification Ray can incapacitate targets. The Death Tyrant will also use its Bite attack on any targets within range, and if it can't use its Eye Rays, it will rely on its Bite and legendary actions to attack. If the Death Tyrant's HP drops below half, it will retreat to a safe distance and use its Eye Rays to attack from afar. For an interesting combat strategy, we can add additional effects to the rays to make them more interesting and fit the theme of the creature more. The Tyrant can replace or simply add these 2 additional rays. A Shadow Projection Ray, that the Tyrant can create up to 3 illusory duplicates of itself as an action. These duplicates move and act the same way as the Death Tyrant does, but only have 1 hit point each and deal no damage. The duplicates last for 1 minute or until destroyed. We then have Deathly Grasp Ray. The Death Tyrant can fire a ray that reaches out with a spectral hand and attempt to grab a creature within 30 feet. The target must make a DC 17 dexterity saving throw or take 2d8 necrotic damage and become restrained by the Death Tyrant's grasp. While restrained, the target cannot move. The target can attempt to break free of the grasp by making a DC 17 strength saving throw on its turn. The Death Tyrant can maintain its grasp on up to 3 creatures at once, but it must use a separate ray for each. Of course, if you want to buff it up, you can just say that that last ray hits 3 targets instead of just 1. And with that concept being thrown, you can always just create additional rays that fit the theme or whatever you're trying to create for the encounter more. You know your players more than I do. With that being said, overall, the Death Tyrant is a powerful foe who can eradicate a party with ease if they're not prepared. That is all for today's video. Please like, follow, and subscribe, and tell me about your favorite encounter with a Death Tyrant in the comments section below. Have a good one.